Hello and welcome to the eCommerce MasterPlan Virtual Summit, packed with the tips and strategies you need to achieve your goals this year and beyond. I'm Chloe Thomas, host and creator of the award-winning eCommerce MasterPlan and the Marketing Focus Keep Optimizing podcast. And I'm the host of this summit, which you probably know by now because we're now on day 2. And you'll probably also know that it's down to me to make sure it's an event that gives you top quality advice and ideas in every single session, which is why I've worked with every one of our speakers to get the content absolutely spot on to be one of those key things you need to be successful this year. I love the fact we are kicking off our day on customer retention with this topic because using it ticks so many boxes. It helps you build a stronger connection with your customers. It's higher ROI than ads. Yay, we love that ROI. It's going to save you time because this is all stuff that's going to automate. So it's going to deliver over and over again as time goes on. And it beats the competition and cuts through the inbox noise. What is not to love about this? Why aren't you all already doing it? Okay, to take us through this, we've got a high-class member of the Klaviyo team. It's their senior marketing director for the EMEA and APAC. How she has the time to come and join us with this, I do not know, but I am very, very pleased she has made the time. We're talking with Gemma Banks. So let's get Gemma up on screen. Hello, Gemma. How are you?
Hi, Chloe. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am good. And like I said, I'm really pleased you've been able to come and talk to us about this because it's such an essential strategy for 2022. So customer first data, what do we mean?
So customer first data in Klaviyo terms means data that you own. It's data that you've collected. It's data that you've got the explicit consent to use. And it is the data that actually benefits your business rather than it just being generic. It's stuff that actually matters to you and to your customers so that you can give them the best customer journey you can the entire time that they are with you.
Simple as that. Seems so simple. So why is it something we should be caring about? I mean, why is everyone talking about it in 2022, I guess? Because a lot of this is stuff we've been able to do for a few years.
I think now more than ever, with all the changes that are coming with Facebook, Google Analytics, all the rest of it, there's more and more blockers coming in the way to you collecting and owning your own data. And let's be honest, if you use Facebook and other third-party ads platforms, costs you so much money and you never really own that data. So you're paying for it over and over and over again. So really what we want to try and do is we really want to empower people to own the data and to use it in a way that really benefits the business and their customers. So, you know, if you're collecting data that matters to you as a business, if you're collecting data that matters to your customers, then ultimately your customers are going to keep coming back because you're actually giving them something that's beneficial rather than just being generic data on generic things that quite honestly you're paying an arm and a leg for.
And you know what you make really clear there is that this isn't just give me all the data. You know, it's not one of those scenarios which I know as marketers we can be a little bit, I'll ask them that and I'll ask them that and I'll ask them that. The power is, there is a bit of power in asking it, but the power is in actually using the data to give a better experience, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think, like as you say, marketers are well known for going, give me everything. But then we don't use it, right? Because you look at it and go, okay, well, it doesn't actually matter to me that I now know that they like water over wine because I'm not in the food and drinks industry. So I don't know why I've got this information. So it's really about collecting the data that's really important. I mean, you think how often you get an email that's like, you bought this dress, wouldn't these shoes look lovely with it? And suddenly you're like, oh, yes, they would. And so you're more engaged, right? And then every time you get another email from that brand, you're going to open it because you know that they're talking to you in a way that really resonates with you because they're using all the data they've collected on you to be like, this is for you only. It's personalized for you. You're going to want to see it. And it's not generic rubbish.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're collecting that data and you're not using it, customers start to get annoyed. It's like at the moment, there's a marvelous company who I really love their products. They're based in either Germany or Austria, I forget. And they've started this brilliant test of sending and the email out in German and in English. Right now, if they don't in the next couple of weeks identify that I only interact with the English one, apart from the first time because I was excited by what they were doing, then I will be really disappointed as a customer. And if I try and take my marketer's hat off, I'd also be very annoyed that they're double filling my inbox each time. And so they've got to adapt to that data that they're collecting on me.
And that's the thing that I think it's so easy to forget that you've also got to look at the results that you're getting and actually act on them. It's not all well and good to just be like, we're now going to do multi-language. We're going to do 2 languages now because we believe our database consists of English and German speakers, for example. You then got to take that and say, what does it mean though? What have we learned? And therefore, how do we tailor those communications based on what's come in? And obviously, if you don't own your data, you can't do that. So fundamentally, that's what brings you back to the customer first data and why it's so important that you collect it, you analyze it, and you act on it.
And what I love about this session that we're doing today is we are talking about customer retention. We're not talking about customer acquisition. And I would say 95% of the stuff out there about zero-party data and over personalization quizzes, etc., is all about data capture. But that's a really, really important place to put it. But there's an even bigger opportunity if we're using it on our existing customer base.
So this is it. So when you talk acquisition, right? Yay, I've got your name and I've got your address and your first order. Well, that's all great. But then from that, what can you learn? Every time that customer returns, every time they speak to you, every time they order something, return something, what does it say about them as a persona that you're building up? And you can take that data and you can say, right, I want to keep this person. I want to make them happy. I want to continually sell to them and generate more revenue from them. And the only way to do that is to start looking at what you know about them and offering them more and more. It's very much like when a lot of companies now are saying, do you want to hear about Mother's Day or not? Do you have a mum? Do you not want to know? And suddenly people are saying these brands really care. They actually care about their customers and they care about whether they are resonating with them, upsetting them, connecting with them on an emotional level. And I think it's so easy to focus always on acquisition, more. But actually, it costs you less to keep a customer you've already got and continue to sell to them on a more personalized level than to acquire net new.
Well, and it makes so much sense that we should be using this with our retention because we've already got quite a rich piece of data on these customers. And if we're then going to, we'll segment our weekly email newsletter based on what our new list people are telling us. But we'll just leave the 10,000, 5,000, 80,000 people we've already got on list. We're not going to bother personalizing their experience, despite the fact they're the ones who've been reading our emails for the last year, who've been interacting with us on social, who've been buying our products. All those same things should be being done. So if we want to kind of retroactively get that data from them, do we just send them to the same quiz we're sending everyone else to? Do we do a choices in the email? What are you seeing Klaviyo customers doing?
Well, the good thing about Klaviyo is it actually collects your point of sale data. So if you've got a Shopify or a BigCommerce or any of those, really, we can pull that data in. So as long as you've got that data held on that person with all of their purchase history, actually, we can pull all that in. And then what we're finding is what our customers are doing is they're saying, this person only ever buys women's wear. They only ever buy skirts and whatever it is. And they can start to segment. I mean, obviously, you don't want to go down to just this one person's specific preference, one email to that one person you spent all day building. But you can start to make generic assumptions about a segment, like they only buy women's wear, or they only buy on the second day of the month, straight after payday. So we'd be better off emailing them on the first about any offers, because we know on the second they're going to be there with their credit card, like emptying their bank account on day 2 of the payday. So you're able to really, and also as a business, right, you've got to decide what's important to you. Retention is important to all of us, but do you want to sell more of a certain item? Is it that you've got a new range coming in that is going to appeal only to maybe a certain set of people based on location, age, other preferences they've got? So the data it's gold, right? If you treat it right, it's gold and you own it and no one can take it from you.
I love the fact you've emphasized the fact we shouldn't start by collecting more data. We should start with the data we've already got. And also, I think, when I'm talking about this and with people from the customer acquisition standpoint and the quiz building standpoint, it's always keep it simple, learn, because you know nothing at this stage. Keep it simple. Of course, with the customer retention piece, we know so much. We can go and look at our data and be like, oh, we can see that 60% of our customer base only ever buy from this particular product range. So that's probably a good place to start, because there's a lot of people, we know they're buyers. We're not going to create one for all 5 product ranges. We'll create one for the product range where people only ever buy that. And it gives us such a head start when we interrogate the data we've already got, rather than going for the exciting new stuff, because actually this stuff's actually more exciting.
I think as well, it's really important to remember to crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run. It's so easy as marketers to be like, oh, we want the earth. We want to go all in. We're going to go global overnight, right? Before we've even done one thing. But also as consumers, we're really greedy now, right? If I now don't get an email that doesn't only have my name in it, but like everything I've ever bought kind of listed, I think, well, you're not doing a good job of keeping me as a customer. So it's finding that line between, as you say, personalizing it to a point where it's like, this person's going to feel special, but not going so far that you end up actually isolating more and more people. And as a marketer, you're going to have to do 30 times the amount of work to probably get exactly the same result.
Yeah, we've got to be strategic with what we can do. So I guess, it's like you said, it's working out what are our ideas, and then let's look at the data to see where the biggest opportunity is and build it. Because whilst I did say at the beginning this is a time saver because it's automated, that you're probably going to be working on this forever, but you're going to be building a bit, building a bit, building a bit, building a bit. So you want to make sure the first thing you build, the bit you build next month, is the best possible bit to build next month.
Yeah, exactly. It's always the same with any business, in any strategy conversation. What's the priority? What can I come out the gates with that's going to have the biggest impact that I can then refine? I can learn from. I can look at my results and say, actually, if I tweaked it a little bit here, I think we'd get 20 times the return that we're getting today. It's always a learning curve. And to say that any business should just follow exactly another business is wrong, because everyone's business is different and your customers are different and the way they interact with you will be different. So you've really got to overlay your experience of your customers on top of the data to really understand what it's saying, to then build the best you can.
Because it's one of the, and guys, we are taking these cues from an amazing report that Klaviyo has produced, which we'll give you the link to grab a little later on, or it's somewhere around this video right now. It's got case studies and numbers and all that good stuff. But one of the key messages I took from the report, because I think which is reiterated a couple of times, I'm looking over to the left because I want to get the wording right on this, is that it all starts with your people, as in your customers, and that the data is only as good as the experience you activate, which I really like that use. You use it then, and I like the use of the word experience in the report, because this is about creating an experience for people. It's not just about segmenting off a bit to give an offer on ladies' shoes, is it?
No, and I think for me, one of the things that people have to be really wary of is they've got to translate the experience from bricks and mortar, digital shop, actually into your email. Because ultimately people will interact with your emails as much as they do on your online shop or in an actual physical shop. So if you think that you don't have to bring through your brand experience, the way you treat your customers and everything else, that's where you will still fail. Ultimately people shop on certain shops because they like the way it feels. They like the way they're treated. They like the language used. You must translate that into your email, social media, everywhere, right? It's all about that brand identity. And that's where that experience matters, because the experience from shop to checkout, everyone spends months trying to get that right. It's the same with the email, because you are effectively getting them to do an action. You're saying to them, take time out of your day to click this pretty button over here, to come and do something with us, to spend money. So it's really important that that experience translates. Wherever I start and end, I should feel like I'm in that environment the entire time.
Yeah, and I think it's ever more important to do that this year, as we're going into rising inflation, increased product costs that were going up before. Inflation, well, probably destroying economics here. Product costs were going up last year. Inflation is now going up. People's expendable income is coming down, is being squeezed. So in that scenario, it's very easy for a brand to just go, we'll use discounts to drive things, or we'll just hammer the sales message again and again. But I think, Gemma, the example you mentioned earlier, the person who always buys at the beginning of the month. Yeah, you send them the sales message at the beginning of the month. The rest of the month, send them great content to connect them with you. If you know they buy shoes, send them information on how to look after their shoes, the latest styles in shoes. Give them the great brand stuff in the weeks they're not interested in buying, to build that relationship, because the brands who have the best results this year are the ones who get that balance between driving the sales and understanding the customer's needs and high quality branded content and the connection that consumers are still craving. Yes, they don't have as much money to spend, but they still want that connection. Sorry, I got a bit ranty there, Gemma. Sorry.
No, I mean, I totally agree. Right, the cost of living crisis is going to hit everyone hard, and any e-com is going to be hit because, as you say, the disposable income is going to come down drastically. At that point, as a brand, you need to make sure that you don't come across tone deaf on like, buy all month long. Here, have a £2,000 coat when you normally only buy £50 shoes. It's about talking to your customers where they are, and it's about, as you say, taking into consideration the external issues are going to impact people. Like I say, if people normally buy £50 shoes, you can be like, there's a new range coming out of shoes within the £50 price bracket. Suddenly people are going to look at that, whereas brands who suddenly offer them something that's way outside of their normal price range are going to look at it and be like, you don't get it. You pay no attention to me as your customer. I'm going to go over here to this person who's actually showing me something in my price bracket. People are going to pick and choose far, far more about where they spend their money now. So again, it comes down to that experience. You give them that lovely experience and you talk to them on a personal level. They're going to stick with you through the tough times as well. And whenever they can afford to treat themselves, you'll be the first one they go to, rather than going, you don't get it, not interested.
Yeah, it's so easy at times like this just to focus on the worst stuff, but you've still got to do this high value content too. Gemma, I feel like we've covered an awful lot of the things we meant to cover. Is there anything that you would also like to let the audience know before we tell them how they can get hold of this marvelous report?
I think just that in the current market, technology is your friend. It can automate things, it can make your life easier, it can analyze the data, and it can actually make suggestions about what the right things are to do. So I think it's so easy to take a look at something and think, I can't do it. I haven't got the time. I don't have the experience. I don't have the knowledge. There are so many different technologies out there that can really help, particularly around customer retention, loyalty programs, all the rest of it. So I'd say to people, don't shy away from technology during this time. I know there's a cost implication, but now more than ever, actually, it could be a savior with everything else going on in the world.
Yeah, you've got to make your tech stack work for you people. It is your friend in these. It's your friend all the time, and it's really your friend right now. Okay, Gemma. If someone's interested in using customer first data and Klaviyo to improve their customer retention and their business overall this year, what should they be doing? What report should they be grabbing? Where should they be going?
So we've actually just launched our customer first report, which talks all about how other brands are actually getting 20 times return on their revenue. People like Wilkinson, Sword, Dermalogica, some big brands are in there, but we deal with people from, small businesses all the way to the really large ones. It is a treasure trove of information to help businesses better understand customer first data and marketing. So give it a read. If we can help you on your journey, obviously, feel free to come and talk to us. We are always happy to demo, talk to you about what our customers are up to. But ultimately, the guide is really for people to just try and get more out of their data, regardless of the platform itself being part of it.
Yeah, I cannot recommend this report enough. The case studies in there are brilliant. And there's one, the Couture Club in particular, where they've used a combination of everything we've been talking about and with a loyalty program to drive 2.3 times higher customer lifetime value. Who wants a bit of that this year? All of you do, quite frankly. Right, before I get ranty again, Gemma, thank you so much for having the time, sparing the time to come and talk to us about all this, because I do think it's like a make or break strategy this year. The winners will be doing this. So you guys, you need to be doing this too. So Gemma, thank you so much for being part of the summit.
Thank you ever so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it. And yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'll leave that link up there so you can scribble that down, but there will be linked to from somewhere around this video too for you to get that report. And I honestly cannot recommend it enough. I hope this session has given you some really good ideas for improving your customer retention activity. It has, by the way, so you should be doing this. We've also released this session as a podcast episode today on the Keep Optimizing podcast as part of our email marketing month. So if you want to hear a little bit more advice from Gemma, specifically her insider tips, then do go and have a listen to that. But don't do it now. No, not now, because in our next session, we'll be bringing you another expert and another brilliant way to improve your customer retention right here in 2022. All the replays as well, I should let you know, will be available for you to watch with your team by next week. So please do share this with them and anyone else you think would benefit. And don't forget, it's totally free for all online retailers. So share this link with them, ecmp.info/summit 2022, and that will enable them to sign right up. And I've just lost my script, so I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you next. Oh, I know what I'm supposed to tell you next. I'll see you in the very next session. Thanks for watching, everybody.